We've completed testing on the Mercedes-Benz CLA and talk about how it performed on our track. We also talk about the difference between winter and all-season tires. Plus, we wrap up the 2019 calendar year with our Automotive Naughty and Nice list. Next on Talking Cars. Hi, and welcome back. I'm Mike Quincy.
I'm Ryan Pilakowski.
And I'm Keith Barry.
So 2019 is drawing to a close, and every year here at the track, we get to experience all these new cars and new technologies, and quite frankly, some are hits and some are misses. So we thought we would sit around the table and reflect about, what worked, what doesn't work, as super producer Dave Abrams liked to call our naughty and nice list.
You're going to get on the naughty list for calling him.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole point, actually.
Yeah.
So Keith, I was wondering if you could start us off. Tell us what dazzled you in 2019 and what frazzled you.
Okay, so the nice list is kind of a redemption story because it's someone who came off the naughty list.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, and that's BMW because if you heard me kind of ranting in the past couple of episodes that I've been on about how BMW was going to charge a subscription fee for CarPlay, and this CarPlay we think is a really good thing to have in a car. But BMW is going to start charging people for a feature that's built into the car as a subscription model. It's, what's next? Charging us to breathe? It's crazy. But BMW reversed course and had a change of heart, like all those, Rankin Bass Christmas cartoons, the villain, the Grinch, the abominable snowman, whatever. BMW had, found it in their heart to, it was 2 sizes too small, and now it's now CarPlay is just included and there's no extra charge. And they are adding Android Auto. So our friends with Android,
yes,
like yourself over
myself,
here,
yes,
can use it on a future upcoming BMW. So they moved from the naughty list to the nice list.
That's a great answer.
Isn't that a nice story?
That's
what the season's all about.
And what kind of annoyed the heck out of you?
So there is a person on the naughty list, and that's FCC,
only one?
FCC Commissioner Ajit Pai, who sort of led this charge to get rid of an important vehicle infrastructure and communications technology that we here at CR are big fans of, called Direct Short Range Communication, DSRC. Long story, you can read it on consumerreports.org. Long story short, it's a protocol that would allow cars to talk to each other and infrastructure to improve safety, reduce traffic. But it was a little slow off the ground, but instead of allowing it to sort of continue, and some automakers were behind allowing it to continue, so they've taken that spectrum. The FCC has taken that spectrum and they are proposing to sell it off for other uses, including Wi-Fi, and some of the uses are good uses, but we think that automotive safety is a very good use of this technology. So if you want to learn more about that, then head over to consumerreports.org. We've covered it a ton.
So steps forward and steps back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ryan, I'm not sure how you're going to top that, but go for it.
I'm not going to top that. He's very passionate about those things. It might sound silly, but the Lincoln Aviator and the Lincoln Corsair that we tested have a button on the steering wheel.
And this is your naughty.
This is my naughty.
Okay.
I'm sorry, starting with naughty. They have a button on the steering wheel for voice command. Why on this earth did they do that? Every time I touch the steering wheel, I push this button and it interrupts what I'm doing when I'm driving, asking me what I want. I don't want anything. I want that button removed from the steering wheel.
Right.
Why would they do that?
It's like right where your thumb, if you're
it's
at 10
literally
and 2,
where it's the thumb, where you rest your thumb.
It's like they design these cars, but they don't actually drive it.
Why? It blows my mind. It's enough to, I don't like driving the car because it drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. Absolutely drives me nuts.
Can we add something to that? The cars that have wake words for their infotainment systems that are the name of the car. So someone will say like, "Oh, is this the new Mercedes?" And how can I help you today?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or say, "Hey BMW," or "Hey whatever," and
and it starts talking at you.
It's something silly, not that big of a deal, but it is to me. It drives me nuts.
But I think you bring up a good point. There's plenty of cars that we test every year that there's one little detail about the controls or the interior or something.
Yeah.
And you're checking out cars at night. You're driving home and you're like, I don't want to deal with that. I just don't want to. I'm going to take something else.
Right.
And the cars that the manufacturers are producing, they need to be desirable. You want to, I'm standing in line to get in this car.
Right. What drives me nuts about that is that's a physical button that you can't do anything about. Like, it's one thing as the infotainment system is just clumsy, hard to operate. You can just ignore that. But this is on the steering wheel. I mean, you're touching it every couple of minutes.
I mean, some lane departure warning systems are too aggressive.
Yeah.
And you can turn it off.
Right.
But this you can't do anything about.
You're stuck with it. Drives me nuts.
Okay.
Saw it out and put, no, we would never know.
So we've talked about this car many times now, but on the nice list is this Toyota Supra. Really impressed me.
I think you're going to get a round of applause.
I don't even know where to start. That car was just, I was never a Supra person. I didn't know what to expect. We tested the Z4. This was based off of that kind of, well, it is the same car essentially, but it's way better than the Z4. And it's a blast, absolute blast to drive. I mean, we've talked about it on previous episodes. They hit the nail right on top of the head there. I mean, it's a fantastic.
You know,
car.
without diving into the weeds too much, I mean,
Right.
there's just something about the BMW Toyota collaboration, whether they were working hand in hand or they just said, well, we'll take this and we'll take goodbye. But you're right. It all comes together in this car.
And I really like the fact that you say, because so much of this car trades on nostalgia, the name and all that, and Fast and the Furious and all that, and video games and stuff. But you're saying, I don't care about that. I'm just taking it for a car.
Right. And I get there's people that are probably upset because it's not the nostalgic, but they did a fantastic job.
Well, Toyota was not producing an inline six-cylinder engine.
Right.
So, and that was always the traditional Supra power plant.
They picked a good one.
So what are they going to do?
Right.
They're going to span the automotive world and say, who makes a really good inline six-cylinder engine?
And
BMW? I think they do that.
I've heard of them. They're in Germany.
And then it kind of one little thing on my nice list, and it comes from the Supra, is the BMW, that motor and that transmission. BMW transmissions this past year, and even last year, but I know we're talking about this year, X5, X7, the 3 Series, fantastic transmission.
Automatic.
Transmission.
A lot of the purists represent, there's no manual, but
it is unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, the Supra, everyone's bummed there should have been a manual. Maybe there should have been, but go drive that car and tell me it's not awesome.
Well, the people in Chevrolet said no to the manual in the Corvette.
Yeah.
So it's, whether that's good or it's bad, we'll see. Yeah. But the demand certainly isn't there. So, so for me, and thanks for asking. That's okay.
We knew you were going to share.
Right. Yeah. They keep me on the show because I'm talking about cars. Yeah. So, for me, the naughty list starts with just the general idea. It's all in the details. It's kind of like what you said, Ryan, about the button on those Lincolns. For me, it's our recently tested Audi A6. Literally, does not have any open storage spot in the center console to put like a phone. There's cup holders, which is nice. But you think that the A6 was redesigned. So during the process of the redesign, the good folks at Audi were saying, there's smartphones out there, right? But it's almost like you could forgive a car company for not designing storage space before the invent of smartphones. But now just about everybody has them. So you get in the car, what do you do the first thing to do? You might be charging it. You might be hooking it up to the infotainment system. You might be setting up your music for the ride home or whatever. There's no place to put a phone.
Right. And people carrying more and more stuff these days that you don't want to sit down on, and if it's a long drive, you don't want to be distracted by it.
The worst thing is you do pull it out of your pocket and you put it somewhere,
right?
And then it falls on the floor and it's sliding around or it falls between the seat, and that's a distraction. Like, just give us somewhere to put it.
I don't understand how that you could have such a lack of planning for a simple day-to-day feature like a storage spot.
It's a major oversight.
So I thought as much as I like driving the A6, it's a very nice car.
Fantastic car.
But boy, that little detail just sticks in my craw.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to something more positive. For me, the nice list, I was with you on the Supra. I thought that's just the one-word answer to this question. But then I thought back, okay, I'm gonna step back and say, okay, a car that really blew me away that was not expected, the Kia Telluride.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like we've talked about the Telluride so many times on this program, and it just does everything so well. I think for as many years that I've worked here at the test track, and I started here in 2001, it's rare that a car gets introduced by a manufacturer that just so exceeds our expectations. Like we didn't see this coming
out of nowhere,
and it quickly became a staff favorite. It's always being signed out for road.
I never get to drive that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think
we stole it for tire testing.
right. I was just going to say it's been commandeered to do tire testing.
And I'm excited about that because it's a fantastic car.
I mean, it was such a revelation, and we talked about it ad nauseum. But I think it is an incredible vehicle. The audience out there, if you're interested in an SUV, please take our word for it. Check out the Telluride. But
it looks good.
But lots of luck with
affordable.
lots of luck with the dealer. Dealers know
Yeah.
they got something hot too, so you might be paying sticker for it. So that brings us to our next segment, which is what we're driving this week. And we have the test results all wrapped up for the Mercedes-Benz CLA. This is a very stylish, kind of inexpensive way to get into the Mercedes-Benz family. But it did kind of have a few of our normal testing issues, which Keith will certainly get into right now. Tell us what your experience has been like with the CLA.
So the CLA is basically a version of the A-Class that's wearing a different outfit. It has a little more horsepower, but we didn't notice any real difference in performance
Compared to the A-Class.
Compared to the A-Class. The main differences are in usability and in cost. And usability is sort of redefined by the fact that the CLA has this kind of tapered rear. Mercedes calls it a 4-door coupe, which, we call it a sedan because it has 4 doors, and we're Consumer Reports and we define things in buckets like that. And but the rear of this car, they've made just some tiny little changes, and it makes the back of the car, the back seat of the car, almost really difficult to get in and out of. And the trunk tapers, so it's this longer trunk, but with a smaller opening, so it's less useful. So it's a car that's a little more stylish than the A-Class, but the couple of little changes that they've made, and otherwise the two cars are nearly identical. I mean, the interior's almost the same. From the front, aside from the pattern on the grille, the two cars are basically the same.
And it's just to clarify, I'm starting with you because you've actually spent a fair amount of time driving this car.
Yeah, and I've also spent a fair amount of time driving the A-Class. The reason why is because nobody else wants it. It sits here. It sits. So when I leave on Friday, and if I'm going back to Boston, or if I'm going to take, I'm the last person out, I see, what's left on the board? What keys are left?
We've all run away from it.
And it's a funny thing because you think, a Mercedes. People, gee, a brand new Mercedes you get to drive. But it's like you were saying, I would rather get into a Kia or a Hyundai where I can understand the interior, the controls. And at the end of a long day, I don't want to be fighting with this car on a road trip. Our CLA isn't equipped with the incredibly aggressive lane keeping assist that plagues other Mercedeses, but that's also a problem. And it's a $44,000 car, and things like blind spot warning are optional.
Yep.
So, and the car doesn't have a proximity key. So you have to actually, click the button to get into the car.
It's all in the details.
Yeah. So this is, what do you think? You've driven it. You did some of the driving on the track with it. What do you think?
So to be honest with you, it drives okay. Like the steering's pretty well weighted. It's fairly nimble. It's it's a smaller car, so it's got that. A little bit of a sportiness to it.
Handles well.
It handles well, but it rides super stiff. It's almost jarring on some roads. The interior, like you said, the controls are a nightmare. But we've seen that with
my notes say disaster.
Disaster, yeah. Well, the rear, and unfortunately it's a side effect of making a car look a little cooler with the slope back, but you can't sit in the back seat. I can't sit in the back seat.
Totally
literally
useless.
Cannot sit back there. It's just. I'm literally like this, and my knees are against the seat.
And getting in and out requires dexterity that I'm losing.
I don't know, right? But it's tough because to get into that Mercedes nameplate, you have it's $44,000, which is still a lot of money. I'll be honest with you, I spend a little more and buy a C-Class. It's way nicer.
I
go buy a Genesis G70.
You're going to have a car with a
Are you
back
looking at
seat
my
that's
notes?
a little stiff.
You're looking at my notes, man.
I did,
That's
but that's such a
better car.
fantastic car.
Yeah.
It's easier to live with.
$44,000, no adaptive cruise control, no heated steering wheel.
I got to say, there are a couple of things.
I'm on a G70.
There are a couple of things about this car that I do like. I like the fact that it's a small. I like the fact it's a small car, and I like the fact that even though it's small, it doesn't have poor headroom for the driver.
No, it doesn't.
It's
I
kind of
fit in there quite well.
bubble
Typical German
shape.
car, though, they give you the front seats are usually there's plenty of room. I'm 6'2", almost a little taller than that, and I fit right in there. The front seats are actually quite nice. They're sort of a one-piece back. The headrest is molded in, which some people might not like. It works for me, but it's a nice, comfortable seat. The driving position is actually very good, but it just falls down in other areas. That are
I like the look of the interior.
Yep.
I mean, this
nice
multicolored
materials,
lighting.
very nice materials,
So it
yeah.
has this accent lighting inside, and it does this cool thing, like when you turn the heat or air conditioning up and down, it'll turn the vents blue and red, and it's a gimmick, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
But
And those circular vents.
they're very cool.
Very stylish.
But I can't forgive the fact that in stop and go traffic, that 7-speed is lurchy. Sometimes one time I was driving and I kind of got a little on the gas and traffic slowed and I hit the brake and then hit the gas again. It felt like someone had tapped me from rear-ended me.
Yeah.
Because there was that much of a lurch from the transmission.
Yeah, the car in regular traffic doesn't feel that fast or quick.
No.
It did fairly well on our 0 to 60. It was pretty quick. But on the street, it doesn't feel like that. You got to really kind of like, step into the gas pedal a bit, and then you get this lurchy, uneven power delivery.
And all this lurch, I mean, there's definitely an Addams Family joke here, but I'm not going to.
Yes.
I'm not going to mention that. We could then lurch into our next section, which is questions. We love getting your questions, video questions, text questions. Keep them coming. TalkingCars@iCloud.com. That's TalkingCars@iCloud.com. First up is a question from Ronak from Connecticut, who writes, "Hello. I have heard you advocate for winter tires due to their superiority in cold, snowy conditions over all-season tires. However, it appears that in warmer months, summer tires perform better than all seasons. If that's the case, should I just skip all seasons altogether?" Well, good timing for this question because look who we have here, a tire expert. Ryan, take it away.
So he's right. I mean, we are huge advocates for winter tires. Snow tires, whatever you call them. If you have to drive in the snow, they will be they will make you very happy. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. It's a funny question because in Europe they have winter tires and then they have summer tires. There's no all-season tires there. But a summer tire there fits on a regular car, maybe like say a Camry. Here we don't. Our summer tires here are performance oriented. They're meant for sports cars. These tires do have superior grip on dry and wet roads, but they wear out fast and they're very expensive. So would I tell you to put those on your Camry? No. A regular all-season tire here has plenty of grip if you choose the right one. It's not you're gonna spend too much money and they're not gonna last long unless you really do. If you do have a sports car or you're really looking for that ultimate grip and you don't care about the tread life. I mean, some of these ultra high performance summer tires that we have here some of them last less than half as long as an all season tire.
And they're expensive.
They're super expensive. And if you unless you really think you need that level of grip, I think the average driver never sees that. Unless you are in a sports car, something that requires that, but I wouldn't say go put that on a regular car. All-season tires, also, when the seasons change, say in the fall, and you get a little snow by accident, you're unexpected, you're not stranded. If you had a summer tire in the car, you are stranded until you get the summer tires on, literally.
Completely.
And as we've seen with Connecticut weather, it's
up and down. It's all over the place.
So,
we get snow before Thanksgiving, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Excellent question. We've got tons of tire information on consumerreports.org. Please check it out. We've also got this great tire selector. You punch in the make, the model of your car, and it spits out all these great suggestions. Definitely check it out. Okay, on to the next. We've got a question from Jean-Noel, who writes, "I own a Honda CR-V touring model with the advanced safety features, and I was wondering, since the model you tested was not as well equipped, should the CR-V rate higher if tested with every available safety feature, as CR rewards additional points for safety?" This is a great opportunity, and also for us to better explain our rating. So, Keith?
Yeah. So our road test score is based on the car that we buy. So that's the handling, that's the fuel economy, that's all that.
As represented by what the manufacturer's estimate will be the highest volume model.
Exactly. Right. So we're not going to go out and get the car that only is 5% of sales that's super loaded or that's extremely bare bones. So we're going to buy that square in the middle of the market car. The overall score, though, is partially determined by what that entire model line offers. So if, say, I'm going to purchase a car and the base model of that car doesn't come with automatic emergency braking, which we give points for, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, then we don't want to give that entire model the benefit of having automatic emergency braking that's only available to people who pay more.
Right.
So basically, safety features, we only give those points if they're standard, no matter whether you buy the least expensive or the most expensive model.
I mean, and Ryan, I mean, you were there during the big upswing in the last 10 years of SUV popularity, and there was a time when stability control was not standard.
Right.
And Consumer Reports were big advocates. Like, everyone's buying these SUVs. They have a higher center of gravity. They have more propensity to roll over in an accident. So we think that they need to be standard on all. And you know something? Now they're standard.
They are.
So good on everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is David from New York City. I don't drive every day, but I'm looking for a car to use on weekends and long road trips and want the best adaptive cruise control that will work in bumper-to-bumper traffic. However, it's hard to figure out what systems are better than others. Do you have any suggestions? So let's see. Let's start with Ryan on this one. First of all, are you guys fans of adaptive cruise control?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
My reason is if there's a good fair amount of traffic on the road, I feel it hinders my ability to keep a good pace. Because what happens, I find, is even at the minimum distance setting, it's too far for some people, and they blow around you in the right lane, get in front of you, and now you do this ratchet back effect because you keep falling behind. You can't get. Not that you want to be that close, but there's times where there's a car in the right lane, and that car, that in front of me is going past, but not that fast. And if that next guy thinks he's going to get around you and weaves in there, but it just slows down the process. It becomes clumsy.
It's the Grand Prix of Connecticut.
Right.
Yeah.
Wide open highway. Honestly, the Mercedes. Adaptive cruise with a little bit of steering assist. If you're on the wide open road, I think that's fantastic.
Okay.
It follows the road well.
So that's a good example of how some systems are better than others.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, you get into some heavier traffic, and it depends on your driving style too, I think. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely not all created equally. So.
And Keith, what is your feeling?
Yeah, so getting out of New York City, you're going to get stuck in traffic. And a lot of these systems, depending upon, we don't know if you're buying a new car or a used car, some of these don't work at like traffic jam speeds. Some of them don't work under 20 miles an hour. Other ones won't automatically start up again when the car in front of you moves. Often one way to tell is that if a car has a manual kind of pull up or push down with your foot parking brake, sometimes that means that it doesn't have that stop and go assist. So what I would do if I were you is actually get out there and use these systems. Because like you were saying, I find that sometimes in stop and go traffic, someone cuts right in front of me, and these cars don't have very good peripheral vision. So I'll see that car that's cutting in front of me in that tiny little space that's too small for them, that's trying to edge their way in, and the car doesn't, and just kind of like accelerates at the front three quarters of the car.
It gets a little nervy.
Exactly. So my best answer for this is that it depends so much on style of driving.
It does, it really
and
does.
where you are in the country and how the people around you drive. I'd test drive a car myself. I'd get it out, on the BQE or whatever you're taking on a trafficy day and see how it handles.
The stop and go is quite nice. I was in a BMW 5 Series in traffic, and it was impressive. I mean, as long as your hand's on the wheel, it was navigating for me. I felt very safe. It was great.
Well, the evolution of adaptive cruise control is like a lot of stuff in the automotive world. The first iterations were a little bit rough around the edges. I remember driving some of the earliest models where you're behind traffic, say in the center lane in a 3-lane highway. You move over to the left where it's open. And all of a sudden it just goes, whoa! I mean, the engine starts screaming at you. Like, couldn't we just have a little bit more, linear upgrade to
like a human would drive?
And honestly, not as many are as abrupt.
They're getting better.
They're definitely
like any technology. Right?
But even within manufacturers, different models are different. So if you found, say, one type of one car that drives great and one that doesn't, don't assume that it holds for the entire manufacturer.
Right. So the age-old CR advice is definitely try before you buy. So last question we've got for today is from Tyler, who writes, I drive a GMC Canyon And it turns out this is one of the cars on CR's least reliable list. But so far, my 6-speed manual has been fantastic. Why doesn't CR separate reliability between drivetrains? Is it possible the manual version is fine, but the automatic transmission is where the trouble is? Great question. Consumer Reports reliability information is very detailed, but sometimes it does require a little bit of an explanation. Ryan, you spent some time with our reliability experts, and what do you have for Tyler?
So, first of all, I'm glad that he's not having any trouble with his manual Canyon.
One of the few.
Maybe he got lucky. I don't know. But our reliability results, we dive into a particular model at that level. We don't go further than that unless we see an anomaly or something that really sticks out. Then they dive into it.
So like Honda engines, where you see excess oil consumption from one type of engine, but not from the other.
Right.
Yeah.
In this case, there's probably not a lot of manuals. The sample size is pretty small anyway. It's tough to you lose accuracy. Also, the more detailed questions you ask, because some people don't really even know. Right. Believe it or not, some people don't know if they have a manual or an automatic transmission.
Really?
Or certain and you can get in a car, the screen's 8 inches, but the next model has a 10-inch screen. How far where do you draw that line of diving in?
And actually in the past, when we've seen kind of an anomaly with certain engines and transmissions within the same model, we won't make a chart showing how it's different, but we'll use our copy, our words to describe, by the way, this 1.3 liter engine was okay, but the 1.8 had significantly more problems.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And sometimes you're just going to have good apples and bad apples. And the thing is, like you said there with sample size, it's something like the latest figure that I saw was that about 1% of vehicles sold in the United States have stick shifts. Right. Yeah. So we're not going to be able to dive down just because, if 5 people send in a survey saying that they have a stick shift,
not enough.
It's not enough to draw.
Not enough to make that assumption, right?
Exactly.
But manual transmission's been around forever and been pretty reliable.
The technology is kind of proven.
It's so I'm happy for him. At least that's working out for him.
Well, that'll about do it for this episode. As always, check out the show notes for more information on the vehicles and the topics that we talked about. We really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.